Okay, here's a somewhat shorter article on Barbary pirates and white slavery that went on through the end of the Middle Ages. And of course, it went on a long time before that, but it wouldn't have been referred to as the Barbary pirates. There definitely was white slavery. You can see it written about in the Bible and all the way through the earlier times. So it's estimated that between 1530 and 1780 that 1.52 million Europeans alone had been enslaved. Let's take a look at this, or a closer look at it. The term Barbary is an adjective that refers to the inhabitants of the coastal regions of North Africa. The ethnic group indigenous to this region are commonly called Berbers nowadays. They don't like that. The real true name that they like to continue to go with is Amazigh. For Berbers was something that somebody else put on them, like the Greeks used to name everybody and so on. During the time of the Romans and Greek empires, people who spoke different language were considered barbarians. The definition of a barbarian is as follows: a member of a community or tribe not belonging to or one of the great civilizations, Greek, Roman, Christian. So barbarians weren't necessarily ugh, they were just people that were that, or a lot of times they spoke different languages and wouldn't try to speak to them on their language, forcing them to either learn their language to trade with them or not conforming to Greeks. Some of this caused bad things to happen in wars and things too, but just over simplistic things like that. But let's continue. To the Greeks and Romans, those of different ethnicities and cultures spoke gibberish that sounded like they were saying bar 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 when they spoke. In a nutshell, to English speakers, this is like calling a person who speaks another language Blarians, because their language sounds like blah blah blah, and we don't understand it. And so you listen to something like German or French, and you don't understand it, you don't have any background with it and everything. We don't have disrespect for that language in any way, shape, or form today, calling them, barbarians or anything. Even in the most ethnic of people, the most third worlders of people, we don't have the ideas like this of today. But of course, they were a very civilized people, had this idea that all their words went together with magic meanings and all this type of stuff. So, of course, the other people that weren't. Now, in the 17th century, the Arabs introduced their new religion, Islam, on the Arabic language to northern Africa, and it changed the face of North Africa forever. But and this ended up being with the Moors and all those things that we know about. But another conspicuous connection in Proto-Indo-European languages, and all this will show you that barbarians has to do with barber, and a barber used to be the ancient doctors. Barbers were the ones that bled people and did all the things in the ancient medicines and things, but they were also cutting people's hair and things like that. A barber. They kept up with your beards. A lot of people, being very civilized, would shave and close shave with extremely sharp weapons back then and so on, and keep themselves shaved. And sometimes people that weren't shaved were being called, well, you're barbaric because you don't shave yourself. If you don't wear cufflinks, you're a barbarian. There were times like that. Probably peaked around Victorian England, whenever you had a people that were very, very elite, and then you had a lot of people around the planet that weren't at all. And if you would have had one of them, you could see the sneer on their face when they referred to something as being Arabic back then. But that's a different type of time and place for people and stuff. And a lot of this was born out of mythology, biblical things, and all kinds of folklore and God knows what, and people talking crap about other people, and you know uh, certain things people wouldn't let go over time, things like that. Here we see what's a painting of a barbarian pirate. Now, he's gotten gray bearded at times, but something interesting that correlates this with a lot of things that we know about today is Barbarossa. What's a barber? Barbarossa. What is that? That was Redbeard. Yeah, that was Redbeard. And when you see the Pirates of the Caribbean and all that, and they have that guy Barbarossa, that's what that's supposed to mean. Rosa is red, and Barbar is bearded. So you get a connection out of that. Is this Graybeard here? If it was all black when he was younger, would this have been Blackbeard? Simple names like that, people. So here we are, a Barbary pirate, 1650. They also use the word Berber, an Aryan variant of barbarian, to refer to those who are not of their cultures. So sometimes just other cultures. The term Turk was often used to describe the ethnicity of these pirates by some people. However, this was a misnomer because Turks were from Turkey. During the Barbary raids, few Westerners understood the difference between an Ottoman Turk, a Berber, or an Arab. We nowadays really do know the difference between the two, but you can imagine a far-flung people not quite being sure of what's going on, perhaps being told by other people what's going on, and those people weren't as informed or misleading in some way. The term Barbary stuck when Arab invaders conquered various North African territories in the 7th century AD. Consequently, European cartographers would name this area the Barbary Coast or Barbaria. This area would become more and more distinguished from the rest of the Arab world from the beginning to the end of the Ottoman Empire. The Ottomans relied on the inhabitants of this area for diplomacy and raiding after losing control of the Mediterranean. There's another story that's attached to this, but it's a whole nother site: World War History, War and Peace, and the Prone War. And I won't get into that because it's 4 pages long and would run me to 3 successive videos back to back. And it in itself really goes into a bunch of blah, 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 blah. And I'd really rather be more concise. It's almost better if I work off one that's concise like this and add to it than to work through pages and pages of info to finally get to go, aha, or to have to summarize for you because these people are so long-winded they won't do it themselves. Anyhow, guys, Barbary pirates and the days of old. Like, share, and subscribe, and enjoy. More coming. Peace.